Okay, hi. We're gonna do a dreadlock really quick. I'll be pulling it out though. I'm not leaving it in. Lots of people want to do it with clean hair. I prefer doing it with like washed your hair yesterday hair, because then it's got a little grit to it. And I don't comb my hair. Look at, I don't comb my hair very often. So the way that you do this is you take a section. Now when I start my dreads, I let them section themselves, meaning I won't comb my hair, I won't condition it, nothing. And then after like a week, when you lean like this, you'll see like it'll it's hard to do when you don't actually have dreadlocks. It's not actually sectioning, but like it'll section out, like you can see, like that would be a dreadlock, that would be a dreadlock. It'll like section out. So once you get your sections, then you'll just take a piece of hair, and the way that I've always done mine, unless I let them naturally happen, the way that I've always done mine is twist and rip. This is kind of a huge section. I probably wouldn't do a section like that if I was actually, my hair sections out small when I have dreadlocks. So you have a section of hair, and the twist and rip is simple. You pull it apart, lay it on top of each other, pull it apart, lay it on top, and you just keep doing this. And as long as you yank it up, see, you can see what it's doing right here. As long as you, and this takes a minute. I mean, dreadlocks, if you're physically putting them in, it takes a while. It takes time. You have to be patient. And then once you have dreadlocks, you have to be patient, because it can take a year to 2 years for them to completely lock and completely become actual dreadlocks. It's usually about 2 years. So there, that's what a lock would be like to start. I go up it like this, and you can push it. See how it like makes all these knots? But then I just tighten them in. I'm not gonna keep doing this too much. It's gonna be hard to comb it out. But that's how it, and then when I'm done with that, because it has all these, you know, frizzy things, I just palm roll them. And at the end, because I have really wispy hair, I roll it like this, so it gives it a little ball. And then I palm roll it tight. And it'll come down, it'll come out, and it, you know, the nature of a dreadlock is that it changes all the time. It changes daily even sometimes. Your hair will move up and down the dreadlocks, it will twist around, it's going to pull into each other. So it's super important that once you get these dreadlocks, if you just have a single one, every day just pull it out. I've had a single one. I had a single one right here in my head for a year. But you pull it out and you just separate so that, like this, just so that the hair around it doesn't get sucked in, because it will, and you'll have to, you know, flatten it out. But when you actually have dreadlocks, the separating is like this. Here's, like if this were another dreadlock next to it, the roots like to bind together when they're starting, and that's what they call a Congo, when you have more than one dreadlock at one time crammed in, like when you have more than one dreadlock locking into each other, is called a Congo. So if this was a dreadlock and this was a dreadlock and they were starting, you literally just grab them and rip them apart, and you just take the time like this, and you would sit and separate out each lock, each section, you know, pull it. Some of them will stick together and you just gotta rip them apart. You can't be faint apart. When you have dreadlocks, you gotta be able to yank on your head sometime. So I'm gonna have to comb this one out. My hair, I guess, will see a brush today. But that's how you make a dreadlock, and that's how you can palm roll them like that if it's being too wonky for you. Palm rolling really doesn't do as much as most people think it does. But you can palm roll it in the beginning to help with those little hairs. But part of dreadlocks is that they're natural, they're organic, and that you're always going to have I mean, your hair is going to have some frizz going on. When Caucasian people have dreadlocks, that's kind of what happens. Like, you get like all the little flyaways. Like, look at all these little short hairs. Like, those are not going to stay inside of a dreadlock. Those are just going to be hair. So you just have to be prepared to have kind of messy hair. Get lots of good hats if you're going to dreadlock it up. And if you have a good friend that wants to help, go ahead and help. And to have them help, just like, even if it's just as simple as like doing this kind of stuff. Doing this with the lock will help it stay with its own. And just like this. So this is how I do dreadlocks. I'm not big on back combing. It breaks your hair. I'm not big on crochet hooks. It breaks your hair. Your dreadlocks can literally, like if you break enough hair in the middle of the dreadlock here, this part will fall off. So you have to be careful with that. But anyways, that's how I do dreadlocks.